72 Candles by Deb Gross. Friday, November 24th, 2017. The alarm blared on my phone like an unwelcome blowhorn. I fumbled with it in my hands like a hot potato, embarrassingly, turning it every which way to find the frickin' button to silence the thing. I was on a first date with a guy, and it's my absolute pet peeve when phones interfere with conversation between people. Trying not to be that person, I quickly turned off the ringer and apologized for the interruption. "You can get it if you want," Alex said breathily, almost as if he needed the break himself. He looked like he could use it to gather his own thoughts, too. First dates are usually fraught with pressure, and he'd been somewhat jittery since he sat down. With no delay, I brushed my hand away and replied, "Oh, no. Don't worry about it. It's not a call. It's just this alarm I have." He looked at me skeptically. "What kind of alarm do you have that's at 7 p.m. on Friday nights?" "Well, I light Sabbath candles. I started doing it a while back," and his eyes grew wide. Alex didn't look like he was expecting that answer, but was pretty amused at the novelty. He put his hand up. "Well, don't let me stop you. Go ahead. Feel free to do your thing." Looking around this trendy coffee shop, indie music echoed through the cavernous industrial modern space. People absorbed in their own conversations. I laughed. "Oh, I was expecting to skip it tonight. There's nowhere to do it. I wasn't planning on whipping out some candles, lighting fire, and chanting prayers right here in public." However, Alex seemed to not want to let this one go. "I wouldn't want you to miss out on your weekly ritual. You can light them at my place if you want." It was a kind offer, but I'm not a girl to go back to guys' places during a first date. Safety is a priority to me, and I was not about to be the next face on late local news headlines. I deflected. "That's kind of you, but I don't even have candles. It's not like I travel with them with me or anything." Alex said that was a quick fix. He recommended the Jewel grocery store up the street where we can pick up a box of candles, then go to his place and light them. I declined multiple times, but we ping-ponged back and forth until I agreed to this plan. We had spoken for just long enough that I felt like I wouldn't get murdered by leaving the shop with him. I'm not one to make exceptions, but Alex had the ultimate nice guy vibes. Upon first glance, Alex is the epitome of wholesome guy. Tall, but not threatening. Kind, yet assertive. Our original plan for the evening was to meet at 10 p.m., grab a drink, then attend an 11 p.m. showing at Punky Late Night Theater. We ended up meeting earlier at a coffee shop, a little after 6ish instead, but even so, his choice of attire for quirky experimental theater chic was the cleanest cut V-neck, baby blue cashmere knit pullover. Did I say Punky Theater? Yes, I did. This is Alex's edgy look. A pastel robin's egg colored cashmere sweater. We left the coffee shop and chatted all the way to Jewel. The first thing he confessed is how nervous he is around women. First, I was dumbfounded. Who is nervous around women? And even so, who admits it? Especially on a first date. Based on how soft-spoken he had been all night, I mentally eye-rolled and my inner dialogue blared. Oh no, this is the nervous guy? This is just going to be another date where I'm going to have to spend this entire evening making him feel comfortable and cringe smiling my ass off to assure him he's doing a good job. Or else he's just going to be a ball of wiry nerves that I'm going to have to deal with for the rest of the night. Making a beeline to the kosher section, I hoped for us to pick up the usual 8 or 12 pack of candles sold at grocery stores. But those were all sold out. Oh, wow. I guess we can't light tonight, I said with a grin, shrugging cutely. Looks like they're all gone. Alex didn't skip a beat. He just picked up the next option. A cinder block of a box containing 72 candles. It's not like we're lighting up a whole temple. I stopped him. Dude, are you buying a box of 72 candles? This is crazy. We only need 2. 2 candles. What are you going to do with the other 70 candles? Alex shrugged and just got in line. He was buying these candles, no matter what I had to say. Walking to his place, we ran through the usual Rolodex of first date questions. Where are you from? What do you do? Etc. This was a modest but necessary attempt to understand this guy. I tried to glean as much as I could about him before we ended up at his place until suddenly I screeched. Oh my God. Alex sprung into ready for action mode, asked if I was okay. I must have looked like a crazy person. I was freaking out. I pointed at the storefront to my right. It was an innocuous restaurant called Fat Chris's Pizza. Alice must have walked past this building at least 500,000 times without batting an eye. We were in his neighborhood. I belted. It's Detroit style pizza place. Alex relaxed his I'm about to protect you Street Fighter stance, but was completely lost. Apparently, he didn't register a thing I said. I burst into an emotional, nostalgic explanation of the beauty of Detroit-style pizza, going into a poetic description of its crispy, buttery, square edges, its pillowy, soft, doughy interior, and its separation of salty cheese with tomato sauce that gracefully dances upon the pizza's silky bosom. I mused. Yeah. You don't see them that often. I haven't had one in years. Almost shedding a tear. We still had a lot of time until the show. Alex gestured to the shop and tactfully recommended that we get a pizza. Probably intrigued by trying pizza style that has the ability to evoke madness, followed by poetry and emotional tears in a single young woman. We ordered a pie. Being the gentleman that he is, Alex offered to pay, but I refused. He already got show tickets for tonight and my cup of tea from earlier. This was my treat. The thought also did occur to me that if he is a kidnapper, this would be the last charge on my credit card, helping to possibly trace back my disappearance to his neighborhood. Then our texts back and forth could confirm him as the identity of the killer. So what if I'd be rotting and detained in his dungeon first? At least I dropped the right clues so they could find my body. Dating in the 21st century is bleak. We placed the order and would come back in 45 minutes or so when it was done. At Alex's bachelor pad walk-up, unhung pictures lined the floor and the paint job between rooms didn't match. I stood in a room that was definitely meant to be a dining room, but functioned as an awkward kitchen-adjacent office. I checked out as many stacks of books as I waited for him to dig out some candlelighting accoutrement. He set up the candlesticks for me, stood back, and shyly nodded for me to do my thing. I was about to put my hands above my eyes when Alex exclaimed, "Wait!" He opened his filing cabinet, pulled out a little woven yarmulke, put it on, stepped back, and then gestured, "Continue." I lit the candles, covered my eyes with my hands. My voice sang out the familiar blessing in the foreign apartment, but I felt the tune belonged here comfortably. I dropped my hands from my eyes and overlooked the darkness of the Chicago night in the window. The lights of the flame reflected back at me, filled me with warmth, reminding me it's not just me, but I am connected to all the people engaged in this ritual every week. Like any ritual, the familiarity felt soothing. Behind the burning flame, reflected in the window behind me, was Alex, smiling that we got to share this moment. Back to the pizza place for our cheesy late night dinner. We were the lone people among a sea of red and white checkered cloth tables, but I wasn't uncomfortable. Alex suggested we play 2 truths and a lie, a game I found out later was his staple icebreaker game. He had already pre-prepared his answers to sound smooth and look creative on the spot. I messed up often and found myself just lying to him a lot. We finished at the restaurant by like 10 p.m. We still had extra time until the show at 11 p.m. By now, I felt we had been dating for an eternity, even though our date technically was supposed to start now at 10. This whole time was technically the pre-date. Although all this time up until now was the killing time before our actual dates, I felt like we've had multiple dates since the beginning of the evening. We already met for tea, grocery shopped, performed a religious ritual, ate my childhood-evoking pizza, and lied to each other. And we still had an hour until the doors opened at Neo-Futurist Theater. But the significant part was I wasn't bored. Dating is pretty banal, and usually I'm eager to leave within a couple hours of dinner. But for almost 4 hours in, our real date hadn't technically started yet, and I was having a pretty good time. Go figure. Since that first date, I've been killing time with that boy ever since. Happy anniversary, baby.